was having issues with my starter again. I felt really confident because I had learned how to change out the carbons in Peru, but I was just not having any luck getting it to start again. So we found a local mechanic that really knew his stuff. Marco's super cool. He runs a shop called Lopez Motos. He fixed Becky's starter and found a regulator rectifier for my bike. Got our stators rewrapped. He helped us out a lot, and he charged us a very, very fair price. He was the best motocross rider in all of Chile for a few years, and I won a whole bunch of the races back in the day. Thanks, Marco. You're fucking kick-ass. So this part of the trip is when everyone from the prior parts of the trip come down and join us. So if you remember James, he flew down to ride southern Chile with us. We wound up saying goodbye to Matthias because he lives in Valparaiso. He gave me a little flower for my bike. And we went to a gas station and we were trying to figure out what bike configuration we were going to have with James and Amy and not having a bike for each of us. I tried to fit on the back of my bike with James so Amy could ride hers, but like... He's 6'5". Yeah, he basically bottomed out the suspension on his own. Wound up having him ride Amy's bike, and Amy rode on the back of mine. While riding, we saw a lot of helicopters dumping stuff down on forest fires. Chile has had a serious forest fire issue for a while now. Pretty much all of central Chile was on fire. One thing I thought was really interesting is in a lot of the countries we went to, there was a lot of anti-Monsanto, bioengineered food murals and protests, but Chile is embracing it full on. There's posters telling you to purchase Biotron, bioengineered foods are better. Chile, in a similar way to the US, doesn't really seem to be bothered by all of it, and they're just eating all sorts of horrid food. Chemicals. Hooray! After riding the highway kind of all day, we stopped to camp, made some delicious hot dogs, and then we continued south to Concepcion the next day to meet up with another adventure rider named Pa and her really rad boyfriend. He went over some maps and showed us kind of some different routes in Patagonia that we could check out. Matthias had been telling us all about Kunstmann beer, saying that Chile has the best beer because they have a huge German population. So we stopped at the brewery for a bunch of beer and some sausage and needed to find an emergency camp nearby because none of us could really ride afterward. We got pretty trashed. We pushed our bikes / skied down the street in some grass behind some bushes by some electrical service road. Food's really expensive in Chile. Even a gas station hot dog is going to be at least $3. Once you've been traveling in Colombia and Ecuador where you can buy these giant decadent meals for $2 or $3, it's a little hard to stomach. Our friend Laura from San Diego has some family in Osorno, so we rode south and went to visit. We wound up finding a really amazing spot down by the river to set up our tents. We walked around Osorno and got some lunch and happened upon this really amazing walk, don't walk sign. We went for a ride out toward the Osorno Volcano. Hiked around, looked at some awesome rock formations, and Becky and Laura did some climbing. Mostly I just got high, looked at the volcano in the snow. We saw this old VW van that was converted into some sort of snow tank. After seeing the volcano, we rode over to a national park. This was really the start of Patagonia and the incredible lakes everywhere, snow-covered mountains, and we saw a few foxes. The blue-green water was gorgeous, and Laura said looking at it was like getting an eye massage. On our way back down, Amy rode her bike through the twisties and got a feel for riding some curves. When we got back to Laura's house, some of the kids and her family got really excited about the motorcycles, so I took them each for a ride around the block a few times. And we ate some delicious soup. Soup. We went to the Art and Science Museum and I rode on a sided gyroscope. We said goodbye to Laura and her family and continued south. Más, mucho más. Yeah, make her throw up.